What's going on, guys? ShadowNinja here, and today we have a Stasis Titan build video for you guys to check out, use, things like that. Important to mention that in the description and pinned comment, there is a dim link so you guys can pull and use for yourselves and give it a go. So it's safe to say that Stasis right now is pretty cracked for all classes, and even more so for the Titan class. I know it's hard to believe. How are Titans getting so much love this episode? Well, it's time. It's our moment to shine. Now, this video will be focused entirely on the Stasis subclass and will mainly be with the Icefall Mantle Exotic gauntlets. We also will throw in Precious Scars as a potential alternative, but we will save those details for later. Before we go anywhere, a little shameless plug, or plugs, I guess you could say, before we jump into the video. If you are in need of an updated Prismatic Titan build for episode Revenant, we recently dropped one the other week. Annotation here on screen. The build is incredible, utilizes Twilight Arsenal, and destroys the playing field like you've never seen before. Also, if you guys want more content from me, please consider hitting that subscribe button and bell to be notified for when I do drop more content. And with that being said, let's jump in to this video. So let's talk about some things we are going for in this build. Frost Armor is going to be the main subclass verb we are using, and this verb is fairly new and is basically described in game as this. You are fortified by layers of durable stasis matter, reducing incoming damage. Frost Armor damage resistance grows stronger as you gain additional stacks. So the real question is, with all this information, how much damage resistance is this technically? Well, as of now, each Frost Armor grants 4.5 of resistance in PvE, and by default, the maximum amount of stacks you can have is 5, which is in total 22.5% of damage resistance with 5 stacks for 9 seconds. Now, you can increase this number with Whisper of Rhyme, granting up to 8 stacks of Frost Armor, giving you 36% of damage resistance, and since that increases the duration of the buff, this goes from 9 seconds to 13 seconds. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to be better than other damage resistance verbs like Woven Mail or Void Overshields. I think Void Overshield right now is kind of the best, but compared to Woven Mail, it protects you against precision and melee damage, so that's just a little important note there. Icefall Mantle is another important part of this build. This also saw a bit of a rework, and one that I think truly makes it one of the best Titan exotics for Stasis at the moment. Its exotic trait, Glacial Guard, now reads like this. While you have a Stasis super equipped, Rapid Stasis Final Blows grant Frost Armor. You heal a small amount whenever you gain Frost Armor, replaces your class ability with a burst of Stasis energy that freezes nearby combatants, slows nearby targets, and grants increased Frost Armor. So, while getting Frost Armor from Rapid Stasis Final Blows is nice here, the main part we want to utilize from this trait is the healing factor we gain from Frost Armor. This helps Frost Armor feel a little bit more impactful as a whole, making up some lost ground on the survivability factor. Also, the Stasis Burst aspect of the exotic is helpful against Unstoppables. I won't recommend it as a consistent option. However, if you play it right, you time it right, and you let Unstoppables be Unstoppables and aggro towards you, you guys can freeze them, blow them up to smithereens. Very, very solid little, I guess you could say, exotic trait from this exotic. Now, with those details out the way, let's jump in and talk about the build in game. So, as per usual, this is the drip. Some people love my drip, some people hate my drip. You drop a comment down below and you give me your thoughts. But for one, let's jump into the subclass and give you guys all the details. This is the Titan subclass. We can't really switch our super, but Glacial Quake is actually one of the best supers for the Titan in terms of damage. It just depends on the type of boss you guys have in front of you. When it comes to our grenade, Glacial Grenade is going to be an ultra essential grenade. As of right now, this is my favorite grenade in the game. I just think it's way better than the other ones, especially with the shatter aspect to this build and things like that. And then when it comes to our aspects, we're running Diamond Lance. I am becoming a massive fan of this aspect, especially with some of the changes. If you slam on the ground, you give yourself Frost Armor, so it benefits even more with some of that synergy around Frost Armor and healing and things like that. Also, with an artifact mod, it also triggers the mod from a distance, which is very nice, but we'll talk about that when we get there. And then we have Tectonic Harvest. This is essential. Shattering stasis crystal or frozen targets create a stasis shard. These shards allow us to become Frost Armor, and this shard grants melee energy when picked up by you or your allies. While Tectonic Harvest is equipped, picking up stasis shards grants stacks of Frost Armor. So again, goes with that Frost Armor mentality we are having with this build. Our fragments are on the interesting side. Everything here really is just to make everything feel really, really good. So Whisper of Torment, you gain grenade energy each time you take damage from targets. Having Frost Armor increases the amount of energy gain. Again, going in with that Glacial Grenade and things like that, utilizing Frost Armor to our benefit. Next to that, we have Whisper of Rime. We already talked about this before. Your Frost Armor has increased duration and maximum stack count. So it takes the stacks from 5, pushes it up to 8, and it takes the duration from 9, pushes it up to 13. Honestly, I do think that this is an essential fragment, and kind of why I wouldn't use the Frost Armor whole gimmick in Prismatic, because Whisper of Rime really enhances it and makes it feel a lot more juicier than Prismatic does at the moment. But again, that's just my personal opinion. Next to that, we have Whisper of Conduction. Nearby stasis shards track to your position. This has a +10 resilience and +10 intellect. In general, I just feel like this isn't essential. You could maybe use something else, but I just really like the consistency of not having to chase down the shards chasing me down. A very subtle, nice fragment that really works well with what we're going for here. Next to that, we have Whisper of Shards. Shattering a stasis crystal temporarily boosts your grenade recharge rate. Shattering additional stasis crystals increases the duration of this benefit. Again, regeneration, shattering crystals. This for our grenade is incredible, has great synergy. Really, really good fragment here. And then lastly, we have Whisper of Fissures. Increases the damage and size of the burst of stasis when you destroy stasis crystal or defeat a frozen target. Really enhances and makes, I guess you could say, stasis feel even more powerful than it already does. But again, that's the build in general when it comes to the, I guess you could say, subclass stuff. One important note for what we're going for here is that the main exotic weapon, we didn't really talk about this before this, is going to be a Lithionium. I can't really pronunciate that. I gotta learn how to say that, but it is what it is at this moment. This is an incredible primary grenade launcher. I absolutely love it. It's tied to the season pass or battle pass, whatever you want to call it, for this episode. Bestial Alchemy. This weapon gains energy when you pick up vestiges and allows you to create ammo at the projectile impact point for you and your allies. Special ammo modes unlocks at 50% energy and heavy ammo mode unlocks at 100% energy. This is really good for just creating ammo in all different tiers of situation. And then the main exotic intrinsic trait is going to be Harvester's Spike. This weapon fires a Harvester's Spike projectile. Dealing final blows with this weapon creates a single vestige at the target's location. Impaling more powerful targets with the projectile creates a steady stream of vestiges from the target. Again, this is an incredible exotic weapon right now. It's a primary weapon, which allows you, as you guys can see, to have something like a shotgun secondary, which has anti-barrier potential. And then you obviously, for me, I just use this LMG for now. You can mix around your different type of boss DPS options for your heavy. But yeah, this grenade launcher is the only essential one here, and then really fit out for what you're going for there. The mods are honestly somewhat important. We do have, don't know why I have one, I probably forgot to ship, but we have 2 harmonic siphons just for that stasis beneficiary thing. And then we have hands-on to kind of just melee hit kills, gives us a little bit boost in terms of our super regeneration, really good. Shiver Strike is the melee here, got some buffs, really feels good. Icefall Mantle is our exotic of choice. We have Impact Induction, we have Momentum Transfer, and then at the moment, we have Heavy Handed. In general, I could see potentially using firepower. I haven't really thoroughly tested out to min-max the orb generation there. But in general, I'm going with heavy-handed here. If you guys want to mix in firepower in a later date, or just you feel like it works a little bit better for you, be my guest. But I feel a little bit better with heavy-handed. For our chest, we have Concussive Dampener, we have Sniper Damage Resistance, and then we have Charge Up to increase just by 1 for you're seeing that we have 2 innervations, and then we have invigoration here for some of those regen rates to just feel even more cracked. And then since as you guys see, my stat is recovery not the best, we have font of restoration, time dilation, and special finisher. Just honestly, just to have. I mean, you could switch this for other stuff, but sometimes I forget to use this, so I've had special finisher on. It's kind of I guess you could say, something I just intrinsically always have in general. But again, you can take that off if you want. Really no need if you're using this, I guess you could say, but you never know. Sometimes you forget to use your exotic benefit. Now, if we jump into the artifact, this is where things get a little bit important. For one, since we're using a grenade launcher, something like Concussive Reload is essential. Using a grenade launcher to damage a boss, a champion, or break the combatant shield weakens them. This is incredible. And then Rapid Impacts, dealing damage with grenade launcher temporary increases the reload speed of grenade launchers. Also a very essential for our grenade launcher aspect of this build. We're also using Hail of the Storm. Shattering stasis crystals releases shards of ice that damage and slows target. Really, really good here. And if you guys have a boost tonic for it, shattering frozen targets and stasis crystals deals increased damage. So again, a lot going there. Also, we have crystalline converter. This works with Diamond Lance. You can utilize this artifact perk from a distance with Diamond Lance. It is really good, but basically you gather stasis shards to gain stacks of crystalline converter. Your next stasis melee hit creates stasis crystals equal to the number of stacks you have. And if you boost this, stasis weapon final blows after activating your class ability spawns a stasis shard. I don't think the boost element there is too much. Again, maybe you can min-max with stasis shards, but you're already generating so much. But yes, this pairs with Diamond Lance, so you can use it at a distance. And honestly, it was something I was not expecting, but it works really good, and I love that. Now, if you guys have more artifact slots than me, again, I've been a little bit lazy on ranking on my artifact. Something like Conductive Cosmic Crystal is going to be really, really good in terms of just dealing more damage with a stasis debuff. Again, the boost here is also incredible. Increased bonus damage to combatants affected by stasis debuff. Really good there. Or you guys can have Brain Freeze. Frozen combatants become surrounded by Chilling Fog, which slows combatants that aren't already. So again, these are two that I haven't personally used myself, but honestly, from what I've been seeing on the web and on Reddit, these are kind of the two that are really, really good, especially Conductive Cosmic. Kinetic Impacts don't really use. Apparently, this is like the weakest Column 5 artifact perk ever in Destiny, but in general, that's pretty much the build. Let's jump out and talk about Precious Scars. So, like I said earlier, the Precious Scars exotic is an alternative exotic option if you guys are looking for more healing potential. Precious Scars works perfectly fine here because on top of the basic frost armor aspects and fragments we have here, you guys can get restoration ×1, and it works basically with the fact that the exotic trait gives you that ×1 restoration when you get final blows with weapons matching your super damage type. Very easy to do, especially with our loadout choice here and our exotic weapon of choice in this build. It works great. It could give you more healing potential, but if you guys feel confident enough, you guys don't need that restoration, you guys can play a little bit smart depending on what content you're playing, then I don't think you will need this, but it does have a little more juice because restoration ×1 is very good. And if you pair that with frost armor, you got some good stuff there. But in general, yes, this is the Stasis build. This is what I've been using mainly. Really fun, really solid in all forms of content, and I've been really, really enjoying what Bungie has done to not only the Titan class as a whole, but to Stasis in general. This is a subclass that has been kind of forgotten for some time, has in the past still been very effective depending on what you're doing, but this episode it's really going to shine, and I'm curious to see how Act 2 and Act 3 could possibly expand Stasis even further to make it even more of a powerhouse that it is in PvE. But as all things, if you guys want to drop a comment down below your thoughts on this build, some potentially changes you might make, whatever, not exactly sure, but you guys do say some interesting things that I do enjoy having a conversation with you about, drop a comment down below. If you guys want more content from me, be sure to drop this video a like, helps out the video a ton, and hit that subscribe button and bell to be notified for when I do drop more content. But yeah, until then, hope you guys have a good one. ShadowNinja here, and I'm out.